Well, so far on our journey with Jesus, we've gone with Jesus through his coming to Jerusalem on Palm Sunday, riding on the donkey, and then his cleansing in the temple. And then we skipped ahead to Holy Thursday when he transforms the Passover meal into the Lord's Supper. And then he is betrayed and arrested on that Thursday night. And then Friday morning taken to be judged by Pontius Pilate. And then crucified. He will be buried and put into a tomb. And because the chief priests are afraid that since Jesus said he would rise from the dead, his disciples might come and steal the body, they asked Pilate for a guard of Roman soldiers to guard the tomb until the third day. And so the Roman soldiers go, and they not only stand guard at the tomb, they place the seal of Rome on the tomb, that the tomb cannot be opened by anybody on pain of death. And so that's where we left off. But that's not the end of the story. Because Sunday is coming. In Matthew chapter 28, after the Sabbath at dawn on the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to look at the tomb. Now you notice in Matthew's gospel, they're not worried about how they're going to roll the stone away because it's sealed with the seal of Rome and guarded by Roman soldiers. They're not going to go inside the tomb. They're not carrying spices to anoint the body of Jesus with and do what's proper to do, because they're not going to be able to get to the body of Jesus. They just want to go see what's going on. They're curious. And then we see there was a violent earthquake, for an angel of the Lord came down from heaven and going to the tomb rolled back the stone and sat on it. His appearance was like lightning, and his clothes were white as snow. The guards were so afraid of him that they shook and became like dead men. There's an earthquake. Matthew is fond of earthquakes. And there's an earthquake, and an angel from heaven comes down and goes past the guards who are so afraid they're petrified with fear. They become like dead men. And then these are Roman soldiers. These are the toughest soldiers in the world at that time. But the angel goes past them, doesn't even probably look at them, and he rolls the stone away, and he sits on it. That word in the Greek can also mean he sits above it. In my mind, I see him not sitting on the stone, he's hovering above the stone. And he's waiting. And he's waiting for these two women, the two Marys, to come. Because he says to them there in verse 5, the angel said to the women, do not be afraid, for I know that you are looking for Jesus, who was crucified. He is not here. He has risen, just as he said. Come and see the place where he lay. Then go quickly and tell his disciples he is risen from the dead and is going ahead of you into Galilee. There you will see him. Now I have told you. Like, this is what came. The angel rolled the stone away so we could look, the women could look and see Jesus is not there. He didn't roll the stone away for Jesus to leave. Jesus is already gone. In some mysterious way that Matthew doesn't tell us, doesn't explain to us, Jesus has left the tomb. The stone is rolled away so the two women, the two Marys, can see. And they do what the angel says. They go. So the women hurried away from the tomb, afraid yet filled with joy, and ran to tell his disciples. Suddenly Jesus met them. Greetings, he said. They came to him, clasped his feet, and worshipped him. And Jesus said to them, "Do not be afraid. Go and tell my brothers to go to Galilee. There they will see me." The two women are leaving as the angel told them to do, to tell the other disciples, and they meet Jesus. And Matthew says that, in our translation of English translation, it said Jesus met them. Greetings, he said. Actually, the word is more on, it's karete in the Greek, and karete means, "Hey, y'all, it's so good to see you." They thought he was dead. And now they see Jesus is alive. Jesus is alive. Friday did not have the last word. The Jewish religious leaders did not have the last word. The power of the Roman Empire did not have the last word. God has the last word. And God shows he has the last word by raising Jesus from the dead. And because Jesus lives, we can live too. We can have God's gift of eternal life because of the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Easter Sunday is the most important day of the year. The resurrection event is the most important event in all of human history. Without the resurrection, there is no Christianity. Without the resurrection, what we believe, our faith, is null and void. Without the resurrection. That's how important the resurrection is. That's how powerful the resurrection of Jesus Christ is. Because Jesus is alive, we can have eternal life as well. In 1930, the communist leader Bukharin was traveling from Moscow to Kiev to address an assembly of people. His topic was atheism. And in that great auditorium in Kiev, for a solid hour, Bukharin argued against Christianity by insult and mocking and what he thought was rational logic. Solid hour. He argued in favor of atheism and not Christianity. At the end of that time, he looked out over that vast gathering of men and women and thought he was looking at these smoldering ashes of people's faith. And in his arrogance, he asked, "Are there any questions?" And one man in the audience raised his hand and said, "Can I say something?" And Bukharin said, "Yes, you can." And the man got up and made his way to the platform and went up the steps and mounted the stage and stood behind that communist leader. And he looked out at the crowd from left to right. And then he shouted out the traditional Orthodox greeting, "Christ is risen!" And as one, the whole assembly rose to their feet, and the response came crashing down like an avalanche. "He is risen indeed!" Christ has risen. And because he's alive, we're alive. No matter what anybody says, no matter what anybody else does, Jesus is alive. And that makes today, Easter Sunday, Resurrection Sunday, the best day of the whole year.